Good morning. All right, it is 10:08 a.m. and I hope you guys are all doing great. I'm having some coffee. I'm going to play a little bit of music before I get started here. And this is not a show that you need to be frightened about, all right? Even though there's a lot of controversy around it. And we'll get to that in just a second.
Indigenous toys weaving you the void, drowning your brain, making you insane. Rapping up Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Captain Mark Richards, a secret space program grifter, getting married while in prison, making you listen, create a new religion, doing the reptilian, making you forget my sins. Super soldier talks in prison, Nordic and Draco, shape shifting in my Winnebago. Indigenous instincts weaving you the void, drowning your brain, making you insane. Rapping the Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines rapping like Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Rapping like Benjamin Fulford. Word.
Indigenous insectoids weaving you the void, drowning your brain.
Does anybody remember Benjamin Fulford? If you do, say so in the chat.
Making you insane, rapping the Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Captain Mark Richards, a secret space program grifter, getting married while in prison, making you listen, create a new religion, doing the reptilian, making you forget my sins. Super soldier talks in prison, Nordic and Draco, shape-shifting.
Hi, Charles. Do you remember Benjamin Fulford back in like 2011, 2012, coming on the alt media with Carrie Cassidy and David Wilcock, that whole era? Benjamin Fulford, the White Dragon Society, wasn't it? Like the White Dragon Society.
Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Rapping like Benjamin Fulford. Word.
All right. Now those songs, I like a lot of us have been doing lately. Those were created on AI. However, I have to say, nothing else that I've done on my channel, I've used AI. Maybe other than like a thumbnail. Now this morning, and I knew somebody was gonna think this, right? Because I've shown clips. I've shown like a brief clip. One of, and again, I don't know, whomever might be joining me knows all the characters here, but there's a guy named David Schurter who has been harassing me, defaming me for like a year and a half now, just saying horrific things. And, last night, Sewertown did a live stream, and a lot of us that have been mentioned in David Schurter's litany of people that he wants to, insult daily. Okay, in a nutshell, here's what happened. In 2018, I was on Lift the Veil, which I think it's really weird that Nathan's denying it. Okay, and we're going to really put that to rest, like right now, because I pulled up the Internet Archive to show you where exactly that video is. and then play a little bit of them on my show just to like prove what's happening. It's not like it really matters to me that people know I was on Lift the Veil. I was on Lift the Veil. You know, it's not like that. I mean, I've been on a lot of shows in my life. You know, it's not like a credit that I, you know, really need. All right. It's just the absurdity of it. The ongoing harassment of what David Schroeder is doing on his YouTube channel to a lot of people, and the fact that Nathan is backing David Schroeder on this. And I know that David Schroeder was a guest on his show, and I've had a lot of guests on my show that later on I find out are just completely like untrue, not real, whatever. And if you've followed me in any of my media before, you know I've called some of those people out, where I've just flat out said, you're a liar, you're full of it, I don't believe your story. I've done it. A lot of people do it because, you know, I certainly don't want to misrepresent what might be true or not true about what somebody's doing. And for me, if I had interviewed David Schroeder back in the day when people were talking about SRA and all this was coming out in the media that I participated in, if somebody had said to me, you know, then if I interviewed him and then I saw him now and what he's doing today, I would not support that. I would not give him a place of, you know, vindication of his behavior online. In fact, you know, David's saying, well, they're trying to take my channel down. Personally, I don't think he should have a YouTube channel. I think that lately, some of the things that he said on his channel actually crosses the line as to what is really acceptable on the internet, really, on anybody's platform, but especially on YouTube. So it's kind of surprising to me that he is still able to have access and do what he's doing. By the way, David Schroeder has 2 channels. I think he did lose this current one for a while, and then was on another channel, because if you look at the videos, you know, he'll say, I, you know, am no longer, you know, I'm back, my channel's back, or something like that. But if you look at the old channel, he's doing the same narratives, the same things, the same grift, but with other people in it. You know, I'm not in it on the old channel. So now, that all being said, and I felt like it was a little bit long-winded in that, but that's the part that really bothers me the most is, so here's what happened. I saw a clip on YouTube's Love Story of my interview with Nathan Stolpman. Hadn't even been on my mind lately. I listened to it again. On that clip, I listened to some things and I was like, wow, I forgot I said that. I shared it on my YouTube community page and wrote some commentary on it. At which point, David Schroeder says on his channel, oh, I was, you know, I don't normally look at Tere Joyce, but I was just looking at her stuff, and she said that she was on Nathan Stolpman recently. All right, I never said I was on Nathan Stolpman's show recently. That's David Schroeder saying that. I never said, oh, I was recently on Nathan Stolpman's show. I know what I've been doing recently. I know what shows I've been doing. I know what I've been editing on my channel. I know what I've been doing the whole past like 6 months. You know, I wasn't even able to do much on my own channel because I was working on my studies and graduating with 16 units. Like I'm kind of excited to be back in and start to create new material on my channel and expand what I'm doing, right? And I really don't want to be talking about this stuff, but unfortunately, this is happening on YouTube, and you know, at some point, you know, it's in your face, and you're gonna need to address what the situation is, right? So that's all happening with Nathan, and it's escalated. It's escalated kind of in a weird way. And now All Seen You's in the mix of, Nathan Stolpman's narrative about me. Okay, because now Nathan's telling people that I'm attacking the All Seen You, and he told his audience, I was told to ask you to go after Tere Joyce, which is like me, right, on the internet. Like I haven't already been gone after enough. Like I think how much more can I get gone after, right? I mean, I had internet experiences where the first time I got cyber harassed, right, happened with that Kai conspiracy guy that I mentioned on his show. Like I woke up one day and it was just like everywhere, all over my social media. Like accounts, things, people. The Kai conspiracy guy was doing Operation or Op Mayflower. So there were people tweeting at a certain time of day and including me in it and saying things like over, all together, all at once. I ended up getting like some sort of like email sent to me on Instagram, I think it was, saying that I was, a horrible human being and that I should consider joining the Communist Party. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of like getting a compliment from Satan. You know what I mean? It's like, you're a horrible human being. Well, like, who the hell are you? It's like, you're a communist. It was just this kind of thing that happened to me. And this was back, I think this started maybe in the beginning of 2018. And, some of it, and I'm going to bring up old names here, but some of it involved Christine Joanna Hart from Revolution Radio, because we were both connected to Revolution Radio, and I had pointed out some inaccuracies in the dates of what happened to Max Spears during his last shows in comparison to her show, and I guess that got her mad at me, and so she's. And none of this exists between Christina and I, that this is all like bridge under the water. But, when you talk about, like what it's like to just, one day get up and see how this kind of activity can take place on the internet. And, you think about it, like, I mean, this technology isn't that new, but at that time, as a human being, you have to realize I lived during a time where we had rotary, like we had dial-up, we had to do this on a phone. Like doing this on a phone in a Princess phone was like, oh, we're able to punch it instead. I mean, like to the point where people can do things to you online like this. It's a new experience. It's a new kind of human experience. And unless it's really happened to you, you might not understand what that is really like to have like internet massive like harassment. And, when it's happening, because it is online, you feel like you're being surveilled, like somebody's watching your every single move and then doing like commentary on it, like just minutes after something might have like, taken place. So the experience, and this kind of experience that happens where you get threats and this and that, and, all of it, when it's difficult to deal with as a person. There's a psychological aspect to it. Like you might sit back and say, oh, well, I'm fine. I can handle this. I don't mind. I don't care what people say to me. But, words have a certain power. So when you hear it or you hear the energy of it or you have these things, no matter how strong you might be as a person, and how much that like whatever is being said about you isn't true, on some level, it will affect you psychologically. It's going to come out where, you might be extra edgy and maybe you snap at somebody that you weren't meaning to snap at, or you become afraid because when you go online and you see people saying that they're going to confront you here or find you there or whatever, you start to live in this state of anxiety where you're constantly looking around you. Like you don't just live where you're just, oh, I'm going to walk down the street and everything's going to be fine. Like everything becomes almost like a possibility of a confrontation. And I'm just like, saying like for me as a person having gone through that experience, those are some of the things that I have felt in doing this. So, when you talk about, having these things happen, I would say that this type of activity has been happening to me online since about 2017 or 2018, when about around the time before the time I was on Lift the Veil, because I do talk about a little bit of that on there, and then continually on in today. Like if you think 2018, how long ago was that? Really? 7 years now? 7 years. And some of the people that have been doing it are the same people for that 7 years. And that's kind of like it's like, well, you haven't gone away yet? Like, what are you doing here hanging around, still doing this, this type of activity? Okay, so a couple things I want to clear up with the All Seeing You. In terms of, I've written an article. I've written a couple of articles on Substack, all right? And I'm going to bring them up for a second and just kind of talk about, maybe you guys don't know. I mean, I've shared the link a few times on my YouTube community page. And I just started this Substack. And like, there's all kinds of different types of articles that I'm wanting to write. But see, my interaction with All Seeing You, there was a point in time where, and during the time where All Seeing You was doing live streams for Jaunty, working on bringing, you guys, I'm going to acknowledge here in a second. So, hi, Ben. Hi, Turdwaffen. I think it might be Geo. Welcome, Seren, Angela. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ben. Hi, Pootie Twang. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Charles. So, yeah, it's welcome. Salutations, Tere, and everyone. Yay. Yeah, I was in the Pooh show last night. It was quite fun, as everybody likes to call it. I was on Sewer Town. It was a good time had by all, really. I really feel like that show. Like, first of all, I made amends with the Fango, and that's huge. and even Turdwaffen, there's things that are just sort of, resolved, and I feel really good about this. And so I'm hoping to resolve this. Say that's the real purpose of this stream right now, and that's why I've tagged the All Seeing You and Nathan Stolpman in this stream right now. Right? I'm not here to like. I'm trying to be fair. So that's why I'm having coffee and talking. So the All Seeing You, I guess it was like a year and a half ago or so. My lipstick on right. Okay. She invited me to hang out in some of her chats that she does on YouTube, and she was playing Jaunty's music. And, I could tell that there was like a relationship there. I think she had an argument and she said she drank or something like that, but she was talking about, rock stars in leather pants. And I said, yeah, I know they you gotta love the rock stars in the leather pants. And we had this conversations, and she kind of opened up to me about a few things. Like, she sent me that video that's been clipped in that Operation unalive. I'm going to say unalive because I'm on YouTube, right? I first saw it because she sent me that video herself for me to know. Okay. So, but there was there's things between us, like there's the hoax connection, and I was criticizing that. And I don't know, I'm trying to remember things like, oh, here's this, but you're probably going to post it anywhere. There's nothing I can do about it, whatever. And I did post it. And there was, so there's been, I know she doesn't like me. So, okay, fine. Right. Not like, whatever. But here is what bothers me about something. And this is why I was compelled to look into this and to write about it. And this is, and I'm basically saying to you, if you want to talk, because as a journalist, right, like I need to open it up and say, what is your response to what I wrote? What is your response? Give me your side of the story about this situation, because to me it looks this way. Because it's unfair if I don't go to the source, to her. So I'm basically saying, and I don't know, I could unblock her or whatever and make it so she can communicate with me and talk about what really happened around what happened to Jaunty. Because the part that bothers me, because I did a little Google search and an article came up from the Norwich, UK, and it talked about how he he was bipolar, he had mental issues, but there's a friend that is quoted in the article, and also about the court hearing about how he was distraught over the loss of his YouTube channel. And that he had met people in America on a Discord. And I'm not making stuff up. I'm not saying, oh, there's this thing and people get on Discords. And it's not a conspiracy. All right. This is an actual article in the Norwich Guardian UK. This went to print as being the circumstances that surrounded his death. And so because of the fact that I knew that All Seeing You was playing his videos and in alliance with him that way, made me dig further into what was going on. And as I dug deeper, I now know because she streamed 3 days after he passed away, and she showed those videos that no longer are on his YouTube channel. And in the shorts, in the videos that I show in the video that I have now, you can see that it matches the YouTube channel that still exists with no content on it. And in the article, it sources that, the person was basically threatening them, that I'm threatening to expose personal conversations that his family may not have been happy with. And I don't know who played the stream, but I know I heard her going off on somebody in a recording that sounded like it was towards him and that she had taken his material. I don't have that receipt. But what I did discover was I was able to match up the fact that she was streaming the video content that article is saying was taken away from him. All right. And I'm going to do okay. All right. I'm going to put this on the screen here. Right? Everybody can read it? Okay. So, and you know what? I don't want to, Beth told me some things too about this kind of stuff that happens on the internet when I was talking to Beth. And she told me a few things that I don't really feel okay to say yet about people that are involved in it. All right? Because, it's still a conversation. and it's probably best if I didn't say it yet, but I have my suspicions based on the reaction of certain people involved in this. That's all I'm going to say on it. And so that's the part that bothers me. And then, I think that a lot of the stuff that is going on around some of us, what's the point of this? What's the point of running someone, talking about somebody daily, saying their name and their legal name and affecting the algorithm, calling their job or calling authorities on people, swatting them, this sort of evasiveness into somebody's life like that. What is the point of that? Okay. When you have a little meme and a patch that says psychological warfare because, physical wounds heal, that I think that's there's an element or an organization, let's just theoretically say, to do this to people, to hit them, maybe, I confided something vulnerable to these people, right? Like Sophia Music or whatever, and they know you have an Achilles heel about something. I have literally seen him and the people associated with him say those things out in the scripts that they say. And so I know that they are going after something that they know I have a psychological vulnerability to. And, when you think about that and the calculation of it, and you think about the things that Alcine you did say in that video and how there's a group of people that do this. And the whole thing is instead of them coming in and, and finding you and harming you or whatever, they make you do it. They wear you down to where you will screw up your own life. And you says that. She says it in the video. They want you to be responsible for your own demise. That way, they can't really be criminally prosecuted yet for it, unless we have new laws and there's an awareness that this happens. But we don't have laws in place for that. And it karmically, I think on a spiritual level too, they think they're getting off the hook for that. And and just in looking at how, things come out, things play out on the internet with people, because there's, they will say, oh, your group, you're in a group of bad people, and we're going to villainize your group. And not only are we going to say, are you bad people, but we are going to call you pedos and criminals and lowlifes and whatever little tiny bit of dirt you might have in your past, whether that be something got repossessed, or you were a writer in adult films, or whatever it is, whatever they think that could be publicly unsavory about you, they will take that tiny thing and blow it up and add a bunch of lies to it and make it seem like it's, whatever. And I also want to specify that on top of it, there are channels like Hoax Wars, I mean, the real Hoax Wars with Daniel, right? Daniel Columbus. And they will do this stuff to you on Christmas Eve. On the night before Christmas, when a lot of people statistically suffer from depression during the holidays. And tell me that that's not an accident, that this is what they want to do on Christmas Eve. And you can see where they have had an association with each other. And they all go. They've had association with each other long before I knew anybody. And how long has this been happening? I know it sounds like I can't believe that there would be a bunch of people that would psychologically surround somebody for some reason to get them to end their own life is really hard to fathom. But from what I'm looking at, and especially in this incident, it looks that way. And I questioned it. And not only did I question it, but I felt responsible. I felt like it was my responsibility to question it, no matter how uncomfortable that would make any situation for myself or even for them. But I am actually saying I'm going to be fair and say, reach out to me, Carrie, if I have it wrong, if I don't understand the right details, and I will update anything that I have disseminated so far. Like, I will write another article. I'll talk about it. You want to come on and talk about it? You want to share what really happened? You want to open up to it? Then that's what professional adults do for one another, because that's fair. But I'm not going to sit here and, try to defend myself on I'm pretty much saying what I did and what I think. So I'm throwing it back into their court to come clean on this particular topic. And yeah, I was angry at Nathan for endorsing David Schurter and his behavior, because I find that to be unacceptable. Especially if, like, we are like a community, whether we like it or not, whether we like each other or not. We are involved in, people have said things in their channels, whether you were like being a troll or whatever, but there are people associated to all of this. And I'm just like, okay, so if this is what it is, then we need to call it out. All right, so now the next thing I want to do, just because I had that AI person, not AI, but the person, it was a troll account, but I just want to clarify where exactly my interview is in the Internet Archives. And let's see, where did it go? Well, how did that switch? It's supposed to be, I had it pulled up. Darn it. Give me a second. It's 2017. 17. We'll find it again. It's 2017. 2017. Okay, this is 2018. All right, this is February. It's getting hot here. It's going to be hot today in Fresno. Woo! This is March. It's in October. This is the 5th. Okay, so we're over here. Sorry, guys. But now you can see me search for it, because I know it's here. And a lot of you know it's here, because I believe this is where you've gotten it from yourselves. Almost there. August. November. Okay, I passed it. Migrant Bombs, Megyn Kelly. 11. Now I'm 10. There it is. LA comedian attends satanic reptilian lizard party. Tere Joyce. Let's play it.
What it is, everybody. What an exciting show for this Sunday at 1:11 p.m. Well, we ran a little bit late, didn't we? So this is actually a serious topic, a serious disclosure from someone who has the insider connections, or did at the time at least, to have experienced something that not everybody else could have experienced. So you could compare it to what we experienced recently with Isaac Cappy, who had a Hollywood circle of friends and came out and said something about inside information that related to celebrities. This is a story that also includes at least powerful people in Hollywood and something dark forces maybe being at work in Hollywood. And then there's Doshi right here on time. So I'm Nathan Stolpman. That's Doshi. Joining me today is Tere Joyce, who is a stand-up comedian for forever, practically. She says since 1990, she's been doing stand-up comedy. And in entertainment that you might have seen on your TV, she was one of the contestants or reality stars of the Last Comic Standing season 1. And then also, was there another season 2 that you joined up?
Yeah, I was in a season 3, and it was kind of a different show. It was a competition between the first and the second season, and we were a fall season replacement right after the Olympics that year, which I believe was 2006, the Winter Olympics.
Okay, so in other words, Tere has the experience, has been in there, and we're going to talk about the story of how she ended up at this, Hollywood party where things happen that she's going to describe to you.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the whole interview. Again, I did mention certain people's names in this interview that I would like to redact on my version that I will put online and do commentary on my Rumble. Again, I think that a lot of things that we talk about aren't really right for YouTube. So, I mean, obviously, right? But that is like the receipt. Okay, you can tell I didn't do AI. You watch me search and find it, and you can see that he is starting his show and that we are literally talking to one another. And I also again just want to point out, since the whole interaction in all of this is that David Schurter, right, saw me make a comment on my, community page about a clip that I saw on YouTube's Love Story. That's Colleen Kokar, Tacos, Cuddles, and Cats. And, he went out and said, Tere, never wasn't recently on Liftaville. No, I never wasn't recently. It's been misinterpreted as to what I never stated that ever. And then, Nathan Stolpman made a comment that it's been screenshot and put on David Schurter's blog as a receipt that I was never on a show. So that basically David Schurter gets the upper hand to make me look like I'm a liar with the endorsement of Nathan Stolpman in this small echo chamber of like whatever this is. Because like there are some people that don't even really give a shit about what I'm talking about. They're like, what? Who cares? Move on with your life, right? Who cares? But in relation to like the trauma that I feel like, oh, you got trauma. Well, I feel traumatized by, when you have somebody screaming in a camera that you were a child, and a child, right? I don't even want to say it for the algorithm. And you committed all these heinous crimes with a bunch of other people, no matter how crazy somebody is, when you know that he is sitting there on his channel repeating things that Sophia Music emailed him in the middle of the night, and you know that the source of those lies, where it came from, and how it's being repeated by other people. And then you have other people, you know, on their timelines where you read that they're going to meet you on campus or confront you, or you listen to somebody's, you know, YouTube channel, and they talk about how if they saw you, they would bash you in the face. You know, you think, oh, that doesn't matter. That's not going to affect you. It is going to affect you. I think that's just like human nature, to feel like words like that or things being said to you like that is a threat on some level psychologically. And so, you know, even so, even if it is an algorithm, even if it is something where, I mean, like I have a screenshot. I have more than one screenshot of Sophia Music talking about driving around my town to find people to actually like council member this or this person in Fresno, so they know they keep an eye on just exactly who Teresa Joyce Randolph is. You know, like I've had these things said, or I intend to ruin her reputation and her algorithm so that she's unemployable. I mean, that is defamation. That right there is defamation with malicious intent. That is evidence of defamation with malicious intent. A statement to, I'm going to ruin your reputation. You know, I'm going to call your school. I'm going to call the dean and get you kicked out of your college. I'm going to call your job. Like the whole time while I was getting ready to graduate, there he was saying how he was going to call my job to get me fired. Posting it on his Sophia Music page. And you can't say that part of your head isn't going to going, wow, could he actually really do that to me? I had somebody call my job. That was Denise Matau. That was shocking in and of itself, to have this spill into my academic and job life. That I don't appreciate. It's beyond just people saying you're fat or you have a big nose or I don't think you're funny or, you know, whatever. It's beyond that. It's in a person's personal life. And what's also disturbing about it is it isn't done by just one person. It's collectively done. And for some reason, these people do these things in clump under the, I don't know, emotional manipulation, you know, whatever's going on there, whatever belief system that they've been hooked into to be like, you know, motivated that way, to spend all this time and energy and create all these videos, use their creativity to do something that may have happened to John T. Thackeray. Because that's the end game, is what I think might be going on. And so I think there's enough evidence in what I've reported to speculate that. And if Nathan Stolpman is saying, oh, she's never on my show, and then siding with you and saying that you're the victim against me for questioning or reporting it or documenting that, that's all I've done. Then I have to ask you why you are doing that. Why are you? It would have been better if, like, Nathan would say, oh, yeah, she was on my show. I forgot. I'm, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then say, oh, she's a piece of shit. I took her down. She's a piece of shit. I would have accepted that more than to have the response of, no, she still wasn't on my show. She's crazy. She's an idiot. She's attacking me and I'll see you. And I've been asked for you to attack her. Really? That for me, I'm sorry. I'm like, what? That's your response? That's where you're going to be at right now. Because if you listen to Nathan Stoltman's, I listened to some, I heard some of his other shows. He was good. He was good at what he's good at doing interviews. He's good at what he does. Like, it would be really great if he got back to that and just like came clean. Like, I'm not here. Like, I don't want to harm Nathan Stoltman. It looks like he's struggling and he's in a very bad situation in his life. And maybe that's why he's not thinking clearly. Like, I don't want to hurt All Seeing You, but I feel a responsibility to say and wonder and report on what I think is true based on the evidence that I have. And so if there's another version, if I'm not seeing it right, then I'm giving, this is like, I'm giving it, what is your comment on this, All Seeing You? Because that's, as a journalist, I'm required to do that. I'm required to be not biased in what I report. I'm required to give everybody a voice. 360 reporting. So what is your response about what I think? And that's pretty much all I want to say today. Like, I feel at this point, like, I don't see a reason to talk about this anymore. I think it'd be interesting to go over on Rumble and reminisce and re-talk about the Lift the Veil interview. That's interesting to me. But other than that, I feel like I've made my statement about this, and, you know, the ball is in their court, not mine. That's all I'm saying. And so, yeah, it's bad on him. I mean, I think he needs to correct himself. I mean, it's you know, I do. I think he needs to, like, come on. I mean, we all came into this media. I came into this media when I first joined Revolution Radio and whatever, because I was, like, looking for the truth. And I also felt that the mainstream media wasn't reporting. I was under the impression that, you know, they were like, I was going with more of the fake news thing. Fake news. No, I don't think it's just fake news. There's just different varying degrees of things. And as a person, you need to be media literate in what you're reading. It's not all compromised. That's what I've learned by going back to school and being part of it. Well, I know where it's at. I know where people, I know the ethics. They teach us the ethics. We should leave college with the ethics. Maybe as your career goes on, you know, you lose it. But it's there. People are being taught. Why is it important to be a journalist? What is the news freedom of the press mean? What is your responsibility to that? And you know that. And as I am emerging into being that kind of person or wanting to be that kind of person, then, you know, I'm, by all means, you know, please tell me what is going on your end. Because I'm not here to troll anybody. I'm not here to ruin somebody. I'm here because I thought all of us on some level kind of gravitated towards this because we were into the truth or information or freedom of speech or being able to explore ideas and concepts that were not necessarily considered mainstream subjects. So, that being said, I want to, like, just read some of what you guys said, and then, you know, I wasn't meaning to, like, have a really long stream. I just wanted to make this quick stream, but it's good to see you guys all here. David is a YouTube crisis actor. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, and again, they say, well, he obviously has to be mentally ill. He obviously has to have, nobody acts like that if they are of, like, sound mind and, you know, emotional, healthy well-being. Why would you want to get up every day and talk about that topic? And I'm not saying the topic's not important, that it doesn't need to go out there, but it's, like, so angry and so obsessive and so just smearing people that sometimes, I mean, I vacillated between this, that he knows exactly what he's doing. He's a total freaking LARPer, a total grifter. The whole thing is a ruse. I go there because it would be different if he wasn't always trying to make money. And it would be different if he wasn't, if everybody that he was accusing wasn't, on an enemy of Sophia Music. Like, why is everybody who's guilty now an enemy of on the list and has been harassed by various other people associated with him? And we've all talked about it. We've all talked. Nathan's talked about it. Everybody talks about what this person has been doing. That, the person will say, I'm completely innocent. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to send you a retraction letter. I mean, you shut up. Don't tell anybody I'm doing this to you. But like when we have actual screenshots and can actually prove it in our conversations, like I don't just come on my channel. I showed you things. I don't just come on my channel. I guess I should show you the Norwich article. I just don't come on my channel and just say blank, 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 is true and not show you the reason why I think so. Like you have to have a receipt, right? So this is the article that I wrote. It's, if you want to subscribe to my Substack and look for other things that I'm writing. But so the Norwich article is here. Talented musician died after loss of contact talented musician died after loss of content. Oh, get out of here. Caused mind to collapse. And okay, I'll put this article in here if you want to look at it. Oh, I guess I can't. I gotta show it on a different screen. Hold on. It froze on that one. Let me stop this. Let me pull the article up from the Guardian so you can see it. It's got an ad on it. Let me close this. Okay. Here's the article where it describes what happened to him, the Discord, everything. All right. And okay. And what I'll show like now, just to kind of, let you guys see this. Okay. This is the Norwich Guardian article. Okay. And this is the first article. I've done an update on it with the actual footage that shows his YouTube content and just clips of like a little bit of her live stream. Now, they're not exactly the same. I'm showing the images and then I'm having, because there's a private conversation. I mean, I'm thinking it was meant to be private. It wasn't broadcast. It sounds like maybe he called her on the Discord, or I don't know if you call on Discords, but he called her like on some sort of electronic, connection. And he's sharing about things that were happening to him and that he was having thoughts of ending his life. And she played this during, let me take these off. Those are, I need to get the blue ones again, I think. Okay, let me find that one last video, and then I'll just talk to you, like address you guys in the chat, and then we'll probably just stop. But okay, so I did another post on my Substack, but if you click that one link, if my Substack is Tere Joyce Randolph, at Tere Joyce Randolph is my Substack, and also all of my links where you can follow me on social media are part of my bio or the description on this channel. So if you go to my channel page, you can access all my stuff there, as well as the link to my Substack. But I also uploaded this to my YouTube. So I'm just playing, but I have an article where this video is embedded in it as an update to the first article. And because here are the receipts. Here are the videos that she showed on her channel. And in the article, I quoted that in the description of her video, she talks about how Jaunty gave her the keys to all of his online stuff. So she had access to his YouTube channel. That would be how she was able to take it away from him. And so I'm gonna play this.
Hey, love, seems you got me going. Hey, baby, you got me all seen. I'm heavy on the pedal.
Yay. Hi, you figured it out.
Hiya.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Wow, that's quite cool. Hiya.
Hi. Hello.
And I just ought to know the same thing. I like a junkyard dog with nothing in my bowl on a 10-foot lead.
All right, so earlier, I'm stopping for a second. I showed the channel with no content. This is the same channel. These are the shorts from the channel.
And free, staying lost in space, man. Dreaming wild like a junkyard dog with nothing in my bowl on a 10-foot lead.
Yeah.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the matter. Listen, you made me cry a little bit there. I just woke up to all that, and
Okay, let's go back on this for a second. But I want to, yes, Pamela, that's what I thought. R.I.P. You finally made it. That's exactly what I thought. I went, that's odd. That's odd. To me, that's odd. Like, made what?
listen, you made me cry a little bit there. I just woke up to all that, and I'm so moved by the fact that you sort of think that I've got anything at all, because things don't reflect that over here, you know. Things don't. I just really appreciate you. That's all. I'm not even sad. I just really appreciate you,
Sweetheart, you know, I know how things are there. And that's,
yeah. All right. Well, then we mustn't talk about it then.
no, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that since they're so fucking horrible, you know, I want you to see something else, something better.
Yeah, I can instantly. It's like you've woke me up from a bad dream, and it's a bit scary because everyone's wondering how the fuck I woke up.
Good.
Because I was pretty much ready to. I think I was probably ready to start making plans to do something dreadful. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do, and I recognize that. It's not shocking. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not anything that if you weren't feeling that way, there would be something fucking wrong with you. You know?
But I think if you knew that it was in your future, something like this, you'd try and do everything you could to avoid it, wouldn't you?
No, not when you're in it.
Not when you're in it.
No.
Thank you so much. Anyway, listen, I'm gonna go and drink my coffee. I didn't mean to sort of break the fucking. I was gonna say the fourth wall, and then I was gonna say the glass ceiling. So I don't know what I mean.
All right, I'll let you go. But let me just tell you one thing, okay?
Yeah, go
When
on.
you're talking to me, there's never any fucking need to perform or be a goddamn game show host.
I'm not.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
I just can't wait to hold you, that's all, because then it'll all feel better.
Yeah, I think so. So will I.
Yeah, me. All right, well, I'll talk to you. I love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Of my life without alone by my side. I'm forced to lie once again. Jesus wept and it's happening again. Hippocrates. I'm saying nothing. I'm never dead. Jesus wept and it's happening again.
So yeah, Pavana, that's what I said. That image of him, like that, just
Now it's time for the last word with Lawrence
so
O'Donnell. Good evening, Lawrence.
Hey, Jen, one of the so inappropriate. Like, so it's like, what? Like, and mind you, like, if you, I mean, I don't know if her video's still up, but the date that she premiered this on her channel was on I'm trying to like get rid of this tab here. Was 3 days after he put hi. It was 3 days after he died. Like, I for me, I'm like, what? Like, why would you, knowing how he did die, why would you share an image like that during something that you would think was like a memorial to him on YouTube? Like, and this is how it reads to me. This is when I look at it, when I read, when I assessed what I was looking at, like from the Norwich UK Guardian article, to having actually been there in one of the streams where she was showing his videos and stuff. I followed him on X. She asked me to follow John T, to share his material, to support him. When I did do that, I mean, I didn't know him very well personally, but like, to hear that this happened to him, that like a year ago, I think we all heard it. And then, because I know she's been mad at me because, I showed up in her chat and I pointed something out about Blazing Scar. I said something about Blazing Scar, and, she said, "Get out of here, get your white wig out of here," or something like that. And, did a meme, and who cares? I mean, that to me is like nothing. That's nothing. This is like normal shit that happens around here, right? Like, it's neither here nor there. Tomorrow, everybody's breaking bread and laughing on a panel, it seems like sometimes. But, I did write that article. I did Google that. I did Google his name, and that article came up. I couldn't even sleep. I was getting ready for bed, and I Googled it and I read it and I went, oh my God. And then I just knew, because I started the Substack, and I go, you got to write about this. You have to write about this. So I told myself, I couldn't even barely sleep. I started I ChatGPT things, him, everything. I started to look at stuff. And I literally wrote that first article. I got up and I wrote it. It took me all day to put that together. All day. I woke up in the morning and I wrote until sundown. I mean, I took a break, ate, whatever, And I published it, and I shared it on X. I shared it on my, on YouTube. I shared it, on my social media, whatever. And then, the drama kept escalating on her channel. And I knew, because, like, she tagged me. She wanted me to see what she was saying about me. I won't look at the videos that she's done about me because I don't want it in my mind. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see the images. I don't want my mind messed with. I know it's about me. I see that I'm in the thumbnail, but I'm not going to bring it into here, into me. Okay. And when I looked back again, I noticed that she had republished that stream. And I kind of felt like she knows I'm talking about it and she wants me to see it. And as a journalist or as a reporter, I can't now avoid it. Like, I can't say, oh, you like not look at it. I go, there's something there. And there was something there. There was something off. I find it off that she played that recording of him calling her in the state that he was. And I personally don't think her response is sufficient. And in my article about it, I quoted what you should do when somebody is talking like that. Like from the Mayo Clinic, like you need to go to an expert. That is a sign that somebody is struggling. And I don't think that intervention happened to him, whether it's intentional or just sleight of thought. Like, he didn't need to be told, like, like the part where he says, well, if you had those kind of thoughts, you would try to do everything that you could not to do that. Wouldn't you? And she says, no, not necessarily. Not when you're in it. And I don't think that was the right answer to say to somebody in that situation. Like, oh, not really. Like, yeah, I would be thinking the same thing. Like, it's not healthy. It's not healthy when you are having thoughts like that. And, as a person, and I have to question this, as a person, like, if you knew you were dealing with, and I'm going to say artist. I mean, he was obviously a talented musician. And, people that are artists a lot of times too are sensitive and they think about the world and they're like a poet and they write things and they observe the world and they take in a lot and it comes out in like what they do. And if you knew that he was in like a fragile state like that, why would you do that to his YouTube channel? Like, to me, that it looks like an act of retaliation and or like intent. That how would you not know that your actions could be absolutely devastating to something like that? And when you read the article, this is my argument on it. When you read the article, he did 2 attempts, and the first one was about the loss of the content, and then the second time he succeeded. So, I mean, those are my questions. Those are my questions, and and I'm willing to like say I don't know the full story. That there's more to understand here, and not just like villainize somebody. But I don't think it was wrong to write an article about it, or to even be talking about it right now and bringing it out into the open, because I think it needs to be done. And that's basically all I want to say about it. This is All Seeing You's. Yeah, this isn't a stream. The clips are a stream from All Seeing You. Oh yeah, that you finally did it. Yeah, that's a graphic in the video when you watch it in the very beginning. Yeah, that's how it starts. That's how the stream the premiere starts. That she aired on April 19th. And you never hear her. Like, for example, you know, when you do a memorial for somebody, you, the person, the girlfriend or whatever, will share something. Like you're going to speak there at what's happening. She didn't do any of that. She didn't share any of her pain or her thoughts or anything. It was just this stream of compilation of videos that she was in possession of, with interspersed with other music and cartoons and things like she does. Like she'll play a cartoon over, or, you know, maybe outdated, you know, like there's no copyright on it, it's expired, whatever, common use. She shows those things while she plays a song or whatever, you know. That's kind of a style she does. That is also part of the video. So it's not all of Jonty's music, it's not all of his clips, and or it will be another song in a clip, you know, of him, like kind of like an overlay like I did in the video. I mean, if you watch the video, those little shorts, like I went and I cropped those shorts out because that's the receipt of the channel that doesn't have any content on it. That what she wrote on her bio was that on the description that she had access to that. She says it like this, and I just, or she says more than that, but the quote that I did in my article was, because I clipped, like, you know, what she wrote on it. What did I exactly say? I want to get the right phrasing. What did I exactly say? Okay. This one is titled Musician Ends His Life After Girlfriend Deletes His Videos. That's the title of this one. And then I have I'm not doing the share on it right now. Oh, here, I gotta put this mouse on. I can actually, because here, I'll show you this video. I'll just show you this too, this article. And I screenshot it because it stood out to me. But this one, you know, I wrote, and then I put a disclaimer. This post contains sensitive content such as trauma, abuse, violence, or harassment. Reader discretion advised. And I wrote, Jonathan Jonty, and this is like a quote from the other article. Jonathan Jonty Thackeray had a YouTube channel where he would upload treasured music and family videos. In the summer of 2023, Jonty started talking about collaborating with people in America over the social media platform Discord. The court heard that the person in America whom he had been working with said that they were going to share recordings of personal phone calls with loved ones, which included statements that they would not be happy with. Reported the Daily Norwich Guardian, or the Norwich Guardian UK, not the Daily. It was said that he was frightened by the damage that this could do through the person weaponizing them, and that the loss of his YouTube content impacted his mental health. This led to an attempt on his own life, and he was taken to Leighton Hospital before being released. On February 4th, he told a friend that everything was fine, but later admitted to being ashamed at the loss of his video content. And then I took a screenshot of the beginning of her video because I thought that was odd. R.I.P. Jonty Thackeray, you finally did it. And then you know, I put right here where the image comes from. And then the premiere, just 3 days after Thackeray's passing on April 19, 2024, the All Seeing You YouTube channel premiered a video titled R.I.P. Darling Jonte, The Mean Old World Did You Wrong. All Seeing You YouTube belongs to Carrie Wolf. She was Thackeray's girlfriend, and according to statements in her description of the video, she had access to all of his online accounts. He handed me the keys, and I'm quoting her what is on the description of this video. He handed me the keys to all his accounts because he wanted me to handle his music and find him the audience he should have had all along, writes Wolf. I did everything I could, but the little bit of growth we managed to get him was not fast enough to keep him from quitting. What did I do with my glasses? Vanity should not prevail here. So this here is I did a screenshot the day of writing this article, and this Jonte Thackeray and his it's at morn one. It's MORN number 1 and 5 TAR. Okay. And here, if you look, it says this channel doesn't have any content. And that was, I did the screenshot of this on June 28th, 2025. Then the deleted videos. In the video, Wolf showcases YouTube hashtag shorts and videos from Thackeray's Morning 1-5, whatever. I tagged the channel in the article. The video also includes live performances interspersed with personal recordings of conversations between Wolf and Thackeray. Wolf was fully aware that Thackeray was bipolar, and in one of the clips, he confesses to her that he had thoughts of taking his life. I was pretty much ready to start making plans to do something dreadful, said Thackeray. I think if you knew something like this was in your future, you'd try to do everything you could to avoid it, wouldn't you? Wolf answered, no, not when you're in it. And I cut out some of the other stuff just to that line, but still it was part of everything. Like she says, no, it's, well, actually he says more than she says something. Then he gets to this question and says it. And then she does answer that way. But I just took that one chunk right there. If a friend, but you can listen to the video and listen to the real, because I'm just quoting what's in the video that I have sourced as, the clips that I made. If a friend or loved one talks and believes in a way that makes you believe that the person might try suicide, do not try to handle the situation alone. The Mayo Clinic recommends seeking help from a trained professional as soon as possible. And so I put that in there. And then I screenshot this because I thought that this felt very off to me. Okay, and then I wrote victim of a death cult. In the video Operation Suicide created by Madam Punisher on X, Wolf tells her audience she's there to talk about online suicide and death cult leaders. How much fun is that? Wolf further explains, and then, it's the whole thing. The muggles, what it comes down to is that these people consider themselves superior to and above everybody else due to their knowledge and goals in life. They call you muggles, and then they feel that the more of you muggles that they can rip to shreds and get off this effing planet, the better for them. And if they can get you to self-destruct and keep their hands clean and maybe get you to end your life, it's a great day for them. They love it. They get together with their followers in Discord rooms and on group phone calls, Zoom meetings, and virtually high-five one another. They have a party and congratulate each other. Job well done, Wolf said. Was the All Seeing You's premiere of Thackeray's deleted YouTube video such a party? Okay. And I was writing this article the day that Nathan Stolpman was telling people, oh, did I not share that? I hope I did. Oh God, let me share you the article so you can look at it. I just read it. I want you to see it. Okay, this is the article I just read. Maybe you did see it. Yeah. Okay, so this is the article that I just read to you. And with the images. This is the image. This is the video. This is the image of the opening of the live stream. This is like the channel with no content on it. This is that photo. And then I had written about this part, the Operation Unalive, on the previous article. So I'm kind of like bringing back like stuff from the last article to this article and everything. And so, yeah. And I wrote this the day that Nathan Stolpman was, telling people that I was never on a show and that I was attacking All Saying You and, blank, 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 because I'd already written the other article like a week or so before that, or maybe it's been 2 weeks now. So that's kind of everything. And again, like I said, let's get it out in the open. If I'm wrong or it's wrong or, what it looks like isn't what is, then, come say something to me because, I don't want to be, speculating something and thinking those things, which look pretty bad to me, and saying, hey, this is what I think is going on, if that in fact isn't really what happened, if there's another something else that we don't know, and that's it, right? So okay, you saw it. You're trying to do housework. I know I'm supposed to be doing other things too right now, and I'm talking about this. And that's why I think I should probably end this stream so we can move on. But that is that's the scoop. And then if you guys want to check out this link and look at it yourself, or there's something up. Yeah. I mean, I think it is. I think there is. And again, this is it's a difficult subject to even like look at or write about or absorb or whatever. It's so, there's a couple of days where I was just like worn out afterwards. I had to take a little bit of me time just because of the nature of what it looks like and what you think you're looking at. Anytime you're, dealing with somebody who, ended their own life, even that, is a hard topic to talk about, even though it's a very real topic. And there are statistics that do prove that bullying can lead to unalive ideation and things that make somebody feel like, oh, what the hell, everything's shit, so maybe I'll just end it. And that is something that I think it's to not ever have had a thought like that come into your mind is I think a lot of people, I would say a large percentage of people have at least at one point or time been that low where at least it didn't come into their mind for just a day or a moment or a thought. And thoughts are just thoughts, but what do you do for yourself when you are starting to have those thoughts? Where do you reach to? Who do you talk to? Do you go talk to a therapist? Like, we should, as people, like, if we feel that a loved one is in that state of mind, or you are in that state of mind, reach out. Like, I try to be there for somebody 100%. You can call me in the middle of the night. I don't care who you are. And if I know you're calling me and you're struggling with that, I will pick it up. I will pick up that phone and do my best to talk you out of that. I think, and maybe it's time for us to, like, get educated about it even. Like, I think I should even know more. Like, what should I do? What are the correct things to do, the best things to do for other people that are in that, state of mind? And I think if something like this is happening, and it is associated to a lot of the things that, we're all experiencing right now, that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of like, really? I mean, that is really, there are certain laws, about cyber stalking on the federal level. If you scare somebody on a digital device, doesn't matter if you harm them or not, if you just create fear in a person, you can be criminally prosecuted for that. And I do think that we need stronger laws about it. We need, like, last night, Defengo was saying, telling us or educating us how to go about a restraining order on somebody that you think is doing this to you on the internet, and how you can go through those processes. I think we should have more conversations about that, and more conversations about, maybe even educating people, like, this happens on the internet, if this is true, right? To what level? We know that there's a level of harassment that is stalking on the internet. And so there should be awareness about that. I think we need laws in place of that. Maybe our local law enforcement really won't do much. I've called. And, I had to beg for them to, like, I had one officer who retired that allowed me to make a telephone harassment file. And I was able to upload and show screenshots of things. And then the other people, I had to, like, beg to be able to do it. And then I thought, what's the point? Like, this is a dead end. Like, unless there has to be something else that is happening. But to say that it's not happening, or to call somebody crazy and say, oh, you're just crazy. You're just crazy. You got mental issues. This isn't really happening to you. We all know that that's not true, because the reason why we go to Pooh Town or to Dowd, the Goblin Dowd's channel or whatever, is because we know, all of us that show up, either we have a really good sense of what's happening to people, or we are those people that it's actually really happening to. And that in and of itself, even if we, like, in a regular circumstances, we would never have, like, learned to like each other or whatever, right? But in this circumstances, because of that, it makes us bind together, because it's kind of like almost our survival. Like, you're better with other people than you are in it alone. There's strength in numbers. And, maybe they know that. And maybe that's why there's this, that group. You mean that group that are sharing notes together and sharing, like, experiences and screenshots and stuff like that? That's the group you're worried about, right? Okay, I guess so. I guess you would be. Sometimes people need to know that other people care. Yes, they do. They do need to know. Could put on anomalies through the algorithm to see if it's deliberate or not. Well, in a way, Jane, the algorithm that people, there's this has to do with, the 17th letter of the alphabet, stuff. and tweets and stuff like that. But that's what Lori Dilly's paper is really a Twitter analysis. Now, she may have had help with interpretation by Arturo, right? But there's definitely a data collected that shows certain things, really. If you look at it, that you can see the Twitter accounts that were involved in it, and some of those people are identifiable. We know who they are. I'm not going to say their names, because I did read the paper, the research paper, and the main thing to understand about it is the linkage of the things that they said. The different types of profiles that, did it. Some of them were actually Russian related or Russian bots. But, that's just, whatever. I mean, but it wasn't all of it. And you can see that the movement of the information wasn't organic, that it looks intentional by certain people that I would say are still affiliated with each other today. And again, I'm trying to be as unaccusatory in that statement as I can. But from what I see from it is I can okay, I've been watching these movies where they, they're doing an investigation of somebody and they have all these pictures and lines drawn to the people and the things and the whatever. It's I feel like a mind map could be created in today to the positions. And, some of those people are part of that network that doxed me and, did memes and whatever. Their Twitter accounts are in that research paper. Okay, that's all I'm saying. There's a pattern in that. There's a connection in that, and it was happening before because I just read the paper over the Christmas break. I was like, oh, let me finally read this paper, and I read it. There's a link that was on Lori Dilly's X. And it took you to the Cornell University website. So it's been published on Cornell University's site. And for me, as being a college student and everything like that, and even just working on thinking about reporting, that is a reading something at a Cornell University website has credibility. It's not just somebody's blog. So in my mind, I'm reading something that has credibility to it. On some level, on an academic level, at least. Even if it wasn't, formally peer-reviewed and published, it still was published visibly on an academic platform. And for me, that gave me weight in it. And when I made, some tweets or, some X posts about how I was going to do a podcast and doing an analysis of it, because I feel that for a lot of people, when you're looking at data or you're, reading an abstract or whatever, some people don't read. They just don't. It's just I don't have the time for that. It's blank to me. What am I actually really looking at? How does this really matter? I was trying to think about contextualizing, and going. This is remember there used to be cliff notes for this, cliff notes for that. Just kind of doing a step by step. This data. This is the interpretation. This is what might be happening. Because there is something there, right? Otherwise, why would there be a lawsuit? There is, for me, I think that's the biggest hurdle. There's two hurdles in that lawsuit that I see holes in. One is that there were 5 different types of software used in the data analysis. So it's really hard to argue the validity of that process in gathering the information. Now, maybe they can say the interpretation was slanted or biased or whatever, but there's no way that they can extricate themselves and say that those aren't their Twitter profiles that are in that data. Like he's not. I don't think that you can. You're not going to be able to argue that. The other thing is, and I brought this up about Sophia Music, which is interesting about the LLC that they have, is like when you look into Cicada 3301, if you say who owns or who has the LLC, what will come back to even by AI, and AI isn't always correct, but it'll say it's a mystery. Nobody knows who's behind the puzzle. There's a Washington Post article about that. There's an article in the Washington Post about the 5 most mysterious puzzles ever, and one of them is Cicada 3301, and that is like a source and like saying nobody knows. There's been this trademark, who owns a trademark, who was involved in the beginning. There's all these stories, like some of the people that, like, they may have been part of the creation of it, as so they say, or, as legend goes, right? But in terms of like ownership, and the original LLC that Cicada did have was taken out in Michael Levin's name. And then the metaverse one, the one that has metaverse in it, Cicada 3301, is under Thomas Schellenberger. And and now if you look at the website, it's Levin and Schellenberger are the co-founders of it. And so when you look at the LLC, if you read it, it says Cicada in the title, but it's the purpose of it is it covers actors and writers and musicians and this and that in the LLC. But it doesn't mention anything about gaming. And, Cicada is considered a game or an ARG game. And I don't know. I would think that if you were saying, this is my business and I have a puzzle and it's this particular puzzle and I own it and I'm suing you because you've associated me and this puzzle to what your analysis is, your research paper is, and I'm going to say that I have had a financial loss because of that. You pretty much have to prove that you actually own that business. That you have to show that there's a loss. Like if the LLC isn't really about the puzzle, then, and it's just about, musicians, but there's this thing in the title, you're just covering the artists. You're not covering what it really is. I mean, artists could be a stage production. It could be a comedy troupe, Cicada 3301. It could be anything. And so how do you sue somebody for a loss on an actual entity or business that you might not own? It's a mystery according to what's, reported online or in mainstream publications. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And my thought about anything on that is, something I don't understand or don't know. But to me, that's logical. I've even posted about it on X. I've even shown screenshots of the original LLC and screenshots of the new one and screenshots of what's been said on the internet and compared it online. That's why I think part of the reason he's kind of pissed at me. And that is also part of what was in that retraction letter that he sent me was the fact that I made a comment on Biz Media that it was, fraud. It wasn't really for the, and so, I'm supposed to retract that or I'm going to get sued. And okay, well, no, because there is an argument that nobody owns that puzzle. And the people behind it originally are still in the public domain, a complete mystery. So argue that. Argue it. That's how I feel about it. We'll see. Yeah, he was talented. I, in the articles too, I linked his SoundCloud so you can listen to his songs. And while I was writing my article, I was playing his songs. I was just playing him, just listening to his lyrics and, the music. And it's a lot of it's really good. I really enjoyed listening to his SoundCloud. Defingo is right. Just hope Clown Waffen pays attention. Yeah, Clown Waffen, you should really get that restraining order on David Schurter because for what he's been saying about you, and that's not going to cost any money, none. And he'll be served. And then when he does something again, then Sheriff Neil Gross can do something about it. That's really what needs to be done to David. And I really think that I think it's at that point that I really think that a judge, would grant you that, because what he's doing and saying on his channel about people is, it is that. It is harassment. Like I think like right now, and I think we were talking about this on Sewer Town last night, is that he's worse than Denise. Like he's almost like one of the worst ones of all trolls that are out there. And my thought is, and this is what I'm worried about. This is what makes me nervous when I watch what he says. And maybe I have like an imagination. I will make up a scenario in my head of a possibility of something that might happen, which is good when you're a writer, because some of it was like, well, that's wacky, but it might make a good screenplay, right? But my concern is that who's listening to him? Like, what is David Schurter attracting? Like, who is his viewership? And I think people go, oh well, obviously they're inflating his numbers. His numbers are being inflated, just like they did to Denise. And a lot of the people that are in there are either in his chat are there to prompt him to go off in a certain direction on somebody, or they are supporters to look like, oh, they're the ones who keep him going, keep him, keep egging him, like, we agree with you, David, blah 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 blah, right? How much of that is really real or not? There is a one person, and Daniel Dudd had their channel Cognitive Dissonance. I've seen in Nathan's chat and in David's chat. So I find that whoever that person isn't just about David. They go both places. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying what I've kind of observed. But it feels very, the thing about David is, and you can say, okay, he's crazy, and he's completely weaponized by other people who are taking advantage of like what is wrong with him. Yeah, okay, that could be, I'll go with that, a possibility, because there's been other people that, like Zach McQuaid, that fell into that kind of category and everything. And I wouldn't put it past the possibility that people would actually really seek a certain mental or emotional type or personality type to weaponize in whatever this is without their real understanding of exactly what they're doing, really. Like, for example, like I think Treach, like he was making these videos that were about things that we were all pretty much talking about and concerned about, that we get our YouTube channels taken down, right? And he was talking about that. Has to do with the food that you really like to eat. It's in a circular thing, and sometimes there's pepperoni on it, right? Gate. And, he's talking about it and everything like that. And then, somebody that we do know that we feel is at the helm of this was hiring him or having him make videos for him about this particular topic. And maybe that's how like some of us got drawn in, because initially we wanted to do something good and we wanted to do something that we thought was like needing to get out as information. And then you realize that the person that pulled you into whatever this is maybe not doing good things. And you know, are some of the people that still act out in his benefit like somehow hooked by him, you know, like blackmailed in some level, or they have something on, like what made Arturo go back? Like what was like that, what was happening there? And then to think about his association to the creation of that research paper. And then how she was kind of screwed over, like what happened there, really? Like, I think about those kind of things. But getting to the point about David Schroeder and things that he says on his network and like whose audience is, what if his audience isn't wired right? And, you know, he's sitting there and he's quoting, I guess, like some person who's in the media or politician or whatever about how people that do the things that he's accusing of us should be put through a wood chipper, and says, I'm going to get the t-shirt. And he says it repeatedly over and over and over again. Is he actually inciting somebody that's not screwed right to go after one of us, to actually really harm one of us? Like when you get people like, for example, like even Jesse was reading how, you know, like one of the Bikers for Predators groups, like one of the guys or somebody associated took the situation in their own hands and punished the person in their own way. What if like that is a possibility to one of us who's innocent? And what if that isn't like the reason, the hope for some people, or that, you know, it's like he is calling people to back him. I mean, it's the same thing with like, Nathan saying, "I'll see you and I, we're going to go after her. We want you to join us." It's a gang up. You guys need to investigate these people. You need to do something about it, or you at least need to donate to me. Is kind of like the message that David, like I see David doing with people. And, there was a person that I was going to college with. They graduated the year before me, a young man, maybe 24 years old, very smart, got a degree in mathematics, and was, crunching numbers with friends, trying to like, validate time travel, president of the science club, which I didn't, report on and hung out in because I'm a geek like that. And we watched, movies like, with Kurt Russell and They Lit, something, science fiction, whatever, right? And the circular thing with because we got free pizza and everything, but which is a plus if you're going to get free pizza when you're a starving student. We talked about stuff like, I'd be walking across campus, and as I got to know him, I kind of, we crossed him. I think we might have said something. David Wilcock might have came up or something, and I was like, and then, so there was this sort of like, oh, about that world a little bit. And I think I tipped him off to like David Schroeder, like maybe he had heard of him. And so he watched something of David Schroeder going after me, and he sent me an email. He says, "I'm really concerned that what he's saying about you, that somebody's not going to, that he's basically asking people to come after you, that someone's going to harm you." That somebody else on the outside that observed that said that to me. And so, I think for me, that's the thing that I worry the worst, more than like, no one in my life, if I'm, applying for a job and they, I'm going to get the reporter job of my dreams here in Fresno. And I really seriously doubt an employer is going to look at me and go, "Well, you have a very impressive resume. I really love this article that you wrote here. And, you graduated with high honors, for the BA in digital journalism from Fresno State. We have fantastic recommendations about you. But there's this guy, David Schurter, that's calling you a pedo protector and, that you've been trafficking children. So you know what? We cannot hire you for this position. I don't think that I'm ever, ever, ever going to experience that, because anybody who's logical can look at David Schurter's videos and go, oh my God, this is absolutely insane and over the top. And he does not look like a person of sound mind, and he does not look like a person who is actually factual or giving out facts or anything. He looks exactly as what I would say that had happened. Like if I told them the situation about this and everything, they would go, oh, okay. And you know what? In the world of journalism, it's kind of expected that people are going to be doing what everybody else has been doing, because we get attacked. Anyway, the job itself brings shit on you regardless. So there's an understanding that there might be a David Schurter out there. And especially if you were an online personality yourself and you've been doing your own podcasts and you're an outspoken person, it is a given that you might be engaged in some sort of activity like this just because of the nature of what we're doing in media or social media or anything online. It is a vicious world out there, really. But this is over the top. This is defamation. And this is out of that realm, really. It's not normal. And it's not like the thing that gets me is like someone like Denise or, some of these people that, say these things. They're not self-aware of how they are viewed by the outside public, or how they might be perceived by the outside public. And then they say the things that they want, and they act like they've got credibility in what they're saying. I'm saying it's a freaking freak show. It's a freak show. It's like one of the freakiest things. Like right now, what happens on David Schurter's channel is one of the freakiest things I have witnessed from a YouTuber. And that's saying a lot, okay? Because I was in a relationship with Stephen D. Kelly. And I'm making a joke about that. But really, seriously, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of bullshit, and I've believed a lot of bullshit. But now, as what Nathan Stolpman calls this show, the veil has dropped big time for me. And maybe the veil's dropping for you in ways that you didn't realize it was going to be dropped. And I think it's okay to say, well, I was there. I did believe a lot of things that maybe aren't exactly true today. And, was I manipulated? Have I said the wrong things? Did I run on some of the people who had narratives online during that time? Did I repeat their accusations about other people that maybe weren't true? And those are the kind of things that, I want to question myself and go, yeah, I might have done that. And yeah, I'm sorry. I was not educated. I'm not going to say that that's an excuse, but once you do know something, even that passage in the Bible, it says, I was a child, but when I was no longer a child, I could not live in childish ways. I feel like it's kind of like that, because like everything that we have online is really kind of an experiment anyways. Like we are really, like some of us have been on the forefront of doing media in this shifting technology that's taken place. And I think it's really quite exciting. But in that, there are the mistakes that you make. And then when and some of us, we consider ourselves to be, what do you call it? Citizen journalist. Like, this is my channel. This is my investigations. This is like, and we even said, I've been red pilled, or I came out of the matrix. I know I see things, right? And yet, you realize that what you were told that you thought you were seeing was really maybe still bullshit on some level. But that's okay. because like I think that's the process of actually really learning. It's just don't get stuck in that. Like I feel like I want to look at something and look it up from all different angles before I totally make a decision that I know for sure that that's what it is. And that's what I'm saying to Elsie and you. If I've been looking around this, like going like this and breaking apart like a freaking, you know, what do you call those puzzles, that those little squares that you used to do, right? When you look at something and you're like, you're trying to like figure out what's happening. If I'm missing a puzzle, if I'm missing something, then please, by all means, contact me and let me know what's really going on, because I really do want to do the right thing. And George Orwell, my God, thank you for showing up. I just want to say regarding the Cicada Company ARGs, are performance art. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, the Cicada puzzles are just, I mean, they're fascinating. The whole thing about it, the whole mystery of it, the movie that came out, the discussions, where it leads to, you know, the artistry of it, all of it. It's fascinating. Fascinating stuff. I'm interested in it. I wanted to know what it was. I'm still interested in things of all of this here. But I'm tired of the, you know, talking this person and that person and, you know, you shut up and you dox me and you're an asshole. But at the same time, there are things that are being said about people and people's family members and people's children that are just unacceptable. You looks like you cross the line of what is acceptable. That's all I want to say on that. All right, you guys. What time is it? Oh my God, it's already noon. It's time for lunch. And I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow, and I got to focus on that. And I'm headlining a show called Just the Tips, which is like, it's kind of like an open mic night but it's different. It's like they have a main headliner, and then the show is like they have like seasoned performers, and then they do the newbies go after the headliner. And so, and it's, you know, and this is going to be done at a, it's called the Hemp Company, but we know what it's about, right? So it's a 420 friendly show, which I'm looking forward to. So I was thinking if they allow me to do it, I would try to film my set and maybe put it up on the special, you know, membership, like $1.99 to watch it or something like that. Or maybe I'll do an airing, you know, for everybody to be and watch the show, and or, you know, then put it on membership for later viewers or whatever. But I was thinking of doing that. I think that might be kind of fun if the show comes out good. You know, if it's like nobody shows up and it's like crickets and it's like, hello, I don't know, maybe I'll still show it, because, you know, it'll be might funny if I was having to deal with a situation like that. Okay, thank you for tuning in and being live on this broadcast. And on that note, I'm going to play my AI created theme song, at least the one I'm using for now. Bye.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Caught in a rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Caught in a rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Falling fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole.